Yeah, I mean, I guess that one of the things to let you guys know, one of the reasons why I hooked up with Brian in the first place is because I had watched his videos, like most of you have, and thought that he was a guy who I could learn a lot from, and who didn't have that territorial nature of this information is mine and nobody else shall have it.
I'm not competitive.
No, and
that's weird. I should be, because you're supposed to compete in a market, but I've never been competitive.
But here's the thing: you're not my competition, and I'm not your competition, because I can't be you, and you can't be me.
It's a personality thing, and I think that's what a lot of people don't get. Okay, well, fine. Here's how you set your gear up. You know, here's maybe how you talk to a client on the phone. Here is how you do a light show. Here is what you can say on the microphone. But really, you've got to put your own spin on this crap.
Right. And I think the thing which has to come through is this is a way of doing it. This is not the way of doing it, because there's no the way of doing it.
Right.
There are certain things. I mean, obviously, there's the way of wiring up equipment. You know, otherwise it won't work. But then when it comes to how you physically, okay, sure.
Sometimes.
All right.
When you got you could do so many different things.
Jerry rig some things that sometimes.
You know, do I run these amps bridge mono, or do I run these subs mono or stereo? You know, it's really choices up to you sometimes. But yeah, I hear what you're coming from on that. There's no real right way to do things, but I will say there's probably a lot of wrong ways.
There are lots of wrong ways. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you can avoid doing the wrong ways and find some sort of personality part of yourself that makes you different from other people, then you have to go with it. Because what I've discovered in the short time I've been here is that there are some people who do think there is only one way to do a wedding. There's only one way to do a party, and you must start with Celebration by Kool and the Gang, and you must do this and this and this, and you must finish with certain tracks, and they don't put their own personality on it, and they don't think from gig to gig what worked, what didn't work, and what can I do that makes this night different from any other night?
When I went independent, meaning I wasn't really working for a company anymore, when I went out and bought my own gear and started booking my own gigs, occasionally I would jump in and I would help other DJs who had established, you know, multi-op services or multi-op companies where they'd have 3 or 4 mobile systems. I'd get a call, hey, are you busy? If not, I need a lead DJ. It was always the lead or key DJ to, you know, go to this gig tonight. So you'd go out with this assistant who had been out, you know, probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, but really wasn't comfortable on the microphone. Your job was to go and be the MC for the party. And I remember just, you know, saying what I say, going through my spiel. I had a little, you know, I guess, routine together. And I would say, okay, here, put this track on after I, you know, say, oh, well, no, this isn't the DJ's and Motion's way of doing things. We have to play, you know, Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim. And we can't play What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong because that's the last song of the night. Like, you mean every gig that you do, that is your last song of the night? Well, yeah, that's the way we do it here at, you know, DJs in Motion or whatever they were called. It's amazing how people just can't think outside of the box sometimes.
And it's the one thing I've discovered from talking to... I talk to a lot of brides and grooms, and the one thing I've discovered is that they like different. You don't necessarily have to be the best DJ, but if you're different, then that makes you easier to hire. It also means that you're not going to give them a cookie cutter event. You're going to put your own personality on it, you're going to put their personality on it. You're maybe going to play maybe some deeper tracks that you otherwise might not have played. You got to take a few risks. Don't just say, right, well, there's 200 tracks on the Mobile Beat top 200 wedding tracks. If I stick to that list, I can't go wrong.
Do you know what I had really good luck with? I don't do it anymore and I want to get back into doing it. I say that and then I think to myself, my God, what am I wishing upon myself? But what I used to do is I used to work like kind of clubs, but not like full on, nightclubs. More like theme bars or sports bars. I could go in there, and that was kind of like my testing ground.
Right.
It was kind of like Nevada, for nuclear bomb testing in the 40s and 50s. I would just like throw the bombs out there and see what happened. And sometimes I would find a track that I thought would never work, but it would work with this crowd. And if I blew this crowd off the dance floor, what did I care?
Right.
We're just going to go to the bar, and the owner doesn't care, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my performance where I'm charging somebody $1,000 plus, to come in and do their gig. I guess I'm cautious. I guess I'm really a cautious DJ now that I think about it when it comes to selecting my tracks.
Well,
I'm careful about it.
And I think there's a difference between being careful and between being predictable. There's a difference right there, because I would much rather have people at the end of a night say that there are songs that they haven't heard for ages, songs they haven't heard for years. Even if I didn't get as big of a dance floor as I might have got for one of the cheesy, more expected tracks. Don't get me wrong, I want a full floor, but I would rather, something in me says I want a full floor to music which is just a little bit more different than the usual, one. And don't get me wrong, I play lots and lots of tracks which at any wedding you will hear. Don't get me wrong, but I like to say over the course of a night, if you've got maybe 60 tracks, there's going to be 10 in there that you will not hear at any other wedding you'll go to all summer.
That's what I want to do.
Right.
That's what I want to do more than anything else. But for some reason, I like to keep it safe. I don't know why. If I'm not confident that it's going to work, I am just so freaked out about throwing it on. Sometimes I do anyway. And sometimes I get a good result. And when I don't, boy, I beat myself up over it.
I think it depends on the night, though. I mean, there are some nights where you've established a rapport with both the crowd and with the clients who paid you, that they know that you're doing your job. They know that you're good, and you'll get away with the odd one or two that you took a chance with. For me, those ones which then work, there's where the real buzz comes from. You put something on that you didn't think you were going to play, and they dance to it. I mean, here's a case in point, and I mean, this might be one that you play all the time, and it's not one that I ever used to play in Scotland, and it's one that I played here. I did a birthday party, and they told me that they liked funk. And so, there's a few that kind of, the big funk tracks, your Brick House and those kind of ones, and Cameo, and I played You Dropped a Bomb on Me by the Gap Band, which, like I said, it may well be one that everybody here plays, I don't know.
We used to play a lot. I don't know if you guys are playing it anymore, but I used to play the hell out of that record.
And the place went crazy. The place just went absolutely crazy. And I think I followed it up with Atomic Dog, and, by the end of it, I don't think there was anybody sitting down, and it was a real surprise to me, because it's a track that I would never normally think, hey, I must play that.
Yeah.
And the satisfaction that came from knowing that worked was probably the highlight of the night for me.
Well, what made you play it? Did you get a request for it? Or
no.
Did you...
I thought it worked with the track I was going to play.
You just said, what the hell, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
You'd never done it before.
You said, you like funk, this is funk, therefore you must like it. Yeah. I didn't expect that level of excitement about it. And since then, it's like, okay, you file it away, you say, right, that's one. Later on, I know if I've got a big funk crowd, maybe that's one that they'll like. So you have to learn from your experiences. If it had bombed, pardon the pun, but if it had bombed, maybe I would have hidden it away and never played it again.